Now, for Cursor Bless, me and my brilliant panel will look at 3 big stories and decide who are the week's winners and who are the losers. First up tonight, it's the Noel Coward Theatre in London's West End. The geniuses who run this place have decided to take us back to the 1800s by reintroducing racial segregation. They tried it in the United States and it led to protests, lynchings, mob violence and civil war, so it's probably a fantastic idea. The plan is that during a 2-month run of Slave Play, a drama about race and sexuality, there will be 2 performances for all black identifying audiences. Well, at least Gary Lineker will be able to go along. I mean, Chloe, are you surprised that woke theatres are now openly racist?
I'm not surprised given the way the world is going and how much crazy rubbish like this we see on a daily basis. But I don't know how there's not more pushback against this, right? They will get away with, I know that some of us are pushing back, that there will be plenty of lefties who absolutely love this idea. Right. Imagine if they said...
Do you think they love it just because it's an opportunity to not go to the theatre?
Maybe. Most of them don't have the attention span to sit that long, not on their phones, right? But they see this as inclusive when you actually see the statement that the people who brought in this idea said in response to the backlash. They said, we were trying to do something inclusive. What is inclusive about excluding a certain group? Imagine if they did the same thing but said it's exclusively white people allowed to attend this play. Can you imagine how people would respond to that?
Yeah, it'd be like a normal play from the times that I've been to see plays.
It is obvious. It's obviously racist. And one thing Elon Musk has said is he thinks that there will be a big backlash against DEI and we will turn the tide on it through legal means because there will be so many court cases because it is illegal to discriminate on the basis of someone's colour, sex, gender, etc. And this is exactly what they're doing.
Well, not just here, but in work. It's written into like almost every constitution, and the Equality Act. All this legislation that was supposedly woke when it came through is now being used to defeat wokeism because the Equality Act says, you can't discriminate based on race or gender or sexuality or anything. Yeah,
exactly. So workplaces that don't choose a candidate because they're white and say, we need to get more black people, we need to get more Asian people, whatever it is. That is against the law.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be doing that.
Night, isn't it? So they're going to get around this because it's just one night when it's... Well, they're calling it a blackout night. Clearly it's black in. And that's the one time... So I think it's like a 30-day run or something. So everybody else can go all the other times. So that's their argument for it being inclusive. It's almost like a cynic might say it's a publicity stunt.
You think it's a PR stunt? I mean, I thought the excuse, the reason they said the black theatre goers don't feel safe around white theatre goers. And, white people...
I mean, have you seen people that go to the theatre? I mean, I don't know.
Well, it must be those far-right lot.
No, I don't think it. But this has been done before, not with race. It's actually been done with... Did you know there's been gay-only... That's every musical, basically. But the thing is, I read it. It's actually black identifying. You can go... Black identifying people are allowed to go.
So Rachel Dolezal can go.
Oh,
anybody willing to pretend.
But I mean, that's in itself just shows how ridiculous everything's become because what, you're going to get to the door and you're going to have to prove your black credentials.
They could have like a Dulux
colour chart or like one. Yeah, I don't know, but it's just going back to Jim Crow, isn't it? I mean, we had in America in the South they had separate water fountains, and we thought that's terrible. Then there's one. Are we going back that way? Yeah. Are we going back to that?
It feels like Rosa Parks got up from her section of the bus, and this theatre is just shoving her back to the back of the bus. It's it feels like a really
it's like saying let's separate them, put them at the back of the bus because we wouldn't want any of the black people to feel uncomfortable sitting with the white people. They make it sound like it's something soft and nice you're doing that's caring, but it's just blatant segregation.
It's exclusion. It is like inclusive is anyone can come here. Exclusive is you can't. It doesn't matter who it is, whether they're deemed to be historically the sort of prominent race or whatever. It's stopping anyone going is exclusive.
Absolutely. And it's legitimising and encouraging other forms of racism. Well, next up, we've got the appropriately named Christian Horner. This is the Red Bull Formula One boss who's married to Harry Jellywell, the former Spice Girl. Unfortunately, his attempt to spice up their life allegedly involved sending a load of flirty text messages to another woman at work. He has been cleared of inappropriate behaviour, so Jerry now has to tell us if what she really, really wants, is one of the only people working in Formula One who doesn't manage to get their end away. Now, Justin, you read the text messages that he sent.
Allegedly.
They weren't sent to you.
No, they weren't.
But You read these text messages, or the alleged text messages.
Yeah, man, he is. There's more of a milk float than a Formula One car. He has got no. I mean, this is the thing. It's the internet. They could have been photoshopped. I have seen some screenshots that are supposed to be from him.
Yeah.
And one of them that really made me laugh is he said, "Oh, you can do the splits, can't you?" And she's gone, "No." And he's gone, "Oh, you said you used to be able to." She's gone, "No." And I'm thinking, "Oh, there's another one. Who's the woman that told him she could do the splits?" There's a gymnast in the wings waiting to come out. But it was so boring. The texts were like, "Oh, I'm watching the rugby. We're 3-0 up, but it's only 10 minutes played."
So this is very tame sexting, and it doesn't sound like he actually, from what you're saying, it doesn't sound like he actually got his end away.
No, it doesn't. It sounds like he was. I mean, it's asking a woman if she could do the splits is sort of like maybe trying to steer it a certain way.
Yeah. But it's not like, thanks for last night.
No, it's nothing like that. I mean, unless I missed it, and unless what I saw weren't the actual screenshots, because you never know online now, do you? But that's what I saw, and I was like, oh, if your spouse was messaging something like that, you would be angry.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not a big deal.
Yeah, and it sounds like Christian Horner.
No, it is. But, it is. But you know what I'm saying? It's not like he's done anything like black and white.
It's going to do wonders for Jerry's career, isn't it? I'm all in favour of this. You know, a woman approaching middle age, she's not going to be out of work. It's very inspiring to me. It looks like she's going to have a second wave. She's going to get months out of this.
Yeah, but it's not very inspiring for middle-aged men who want to cheat on their partner.
Snapchat, bruv.
I'm not one of them. But he's like the most disappointing cheat in human history.
Yeah.
He's like tried. He basically sent a few messages to somebody at work, then got called up by HR and got dragged into an HR meeting, and then that got made public, and now Jerry's broken up with it. And he hasn't even done anything.
Exactly. In this day and age, it's so easy to get Me Too'd. Imagine getting to this point and then finding out that his texts weren't good enough to get...
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing, Jerry did say, if you want to be my lover, you got to get with my friends. Yeah. So, you know, he's just...
She asked for it, although she might not be friends with that woman. Next up, the Labour MP for Cardiff North, Anna McMorrin. Now, farmers are having a tough time of it. They have soaring costs and increasing burden of regulation because of short-sighted net zero plans. And there's a move across Europe for politicians to shut down farms to meet carbon reduction targets. Anna doesn't have much sympathy for Welsh farmers, though. Let's see what she said about them.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This last weekend, the Prime Minister posed for photographs with a group that shares extremist conspiracy theories on climate change and campaigns against net zero. Does the Prime Minister share their views?
That's no way to talk about the Welsh farming community, Mr. Speaker.
Now, we've seen this across Europe. Politicians are making life impossible for farmers, and politicians are closing farms in Europe under the assumption that we can import food from overseas. Remember when they thought that we could import gas from Russia with no consequences? I mean, the whole point of the EU was to make us self-sufficient in food. Don't you think this is a retrograde move to sort of close down farms and attack farmers, Chloe?
Yeah, I think it's really pathetic how little politicians actually listen to farmers. As quite rightly, these farmers are saying on their placards, no farmers, no food. They are absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
You need your farmers 3 meals a day to put food on the table. This week I've been reading this really great book called Ultra Processed People, and talks about just how horrific the consequences on your body are of all of
not eating food.
All of these preservatives that we put in food so it will have a long shelf life and can be transported long distances without going off.
Yeah.
It's completely alien substances that your body's not used to dealing with. So if we aren't self-sufficient within our country and, you know, local surrounding countries, then we're going to be eating more and more of this rubbish food that's been modified to last for far longer than food normally should do.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why we need to really help
I guess, ironically, if you're importing your food, the carbon footprint of that food gets bigger, which is the climate change, which is what you're saying about.
These farmers are saying, these politicians are saying we should punish the farmers so that we can achieve our net zero aims. Even if, climate change it's not selective, right? It's not like if you cool the planet down here but you warm it up somewhere else, that this country will be way cooler than that country, right? It's the whole globe. It doesn't make sense to increase our carbon footprint.
No, it doesn't. But for me, the biggest issue here is how clearly now conspiracy theorist is used now as a gag, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like
Islamophobic.
I had to work hard to be a conspiracy theorist back in the 90s. I mean, I believed in lizard people. I had a tinfoil hat, which incidentally, best defence against myocarditis is a tinfoil hat. But so it's what they've done is they've gone, the conspiracy theorists are crazy, They believe they didn't land on the moon. They believe in this. They believe that. That was calling some... But the jury isn't in on climate change with it, how much is caused by humans and isn't. It's just... Now, that was what struck me about that, is it's now this term that means... Like Islamophobia. It's just like shutting people up.
Yeah, shutting people up. We've got valid concerns. And if we're going to talk about climate misinformation, let's have a look at this headline from 1989. United Nations predicts disaster if global warming not checked. So the United Nations senior UN environmental official says the entire nation could be wiped off the face of the earth by rising sea levels if global warming is not reversed by the year 2000. Now, I think... that didn't come
it's
true.
the end is nigh. There's always been a bloke with a sandwich board saying... I remember,
But now they're making policy.
Yeah, exactly. And remember the Millennium Bug? When that was their conspiracy.
Yeah.
When it's them making money, it's fine. But it's when it's the farmers... And this is the other thing, you go back to the medical thing we've all been through recently with the pandemic and that. And it was like, oh, you a doctor? Are you a doctor? It's like, no, I'm not. But you're not either. And they're like, yeah, I'm listening to the doctors.
Yeah,
you go, well, I'm listening to a doctor. They go, well, that one's been struck off because he spoke out against COVID or whatever, the lockdown. So it's like... It's pick and choose. There's experts on either side of the fence with climate change. There are.
Yeah, and so just find an expert who agrees with you.
Yeah, but just to label them all conspirity theorists, it's just insane.
Farmers have been experts on making food. I mean, I thought this was like an anti-obesity move to start with. They just don't want us to have any food. I mean, food security is a big deal.
They're going to try and balance it out. Anyway, let's check out the results of our Twitter poll. We asked, what's the bigger threat facing Britain, Islamic extremism or far-right extremism? Well, the votes have been cast, and it's a Russian-style election result with 95.2% of you going for, would you believe it, Islamic extremism, and 4.8% of you going for far-right. So some Guardian readers did get to see that poll.